Man, what's up, y'all? Fuck, dude, I gotta get my little stand-up energy going here because I'm trying to show people that if you want to really do stand-up about the news, guys, just take it off the tweets. Don't get these one-liners going about wiki pages. Tie them all together and put some spin on this prose. Come on, we're talking here. Listen up. Yeah, I'm booking busy, but I ain't got time to waste. So I'm about to prove several points. Uncle Luke, heavily involved. Luke, the evangelist and doctor, whatever he was, traveling in those Roman times, I'm here for it. Uncle Luke from Two Live Crew, yes. Jeffrey Epstein, involved with trouble. Epistemic humility, definitely necessary right now. Living in a Lynch film, I've prepped for it my whole dang life, guys. I've seen these real demons, and they definitely happened one time under the influence of being bipolar. But that being said, the thing about this all is that we've got to focus our stand-up energy towards real mottos. Like, it's all good and well to cull from Wikipedia for your jokes. But, like, the thing is, guys, the material you're spitballing out while you're bored at work is not that good. I'm so sorry to break it to you. And, like, we have limited times in limited hours of our limited days of our limited lives. And this limited to was compromised as well as the limited.gov/ why aren't the files out there.net. Guys, this is a real HTTPS here, okay? I've got to call out security on y'all. So let's wrap it up by starting to unfold this very cloyingly Jewish tale about why stand-up is good, gang. Because if you don't know how to express yourself subversively when you're constrained in your thought and opinions, you might be talking about Pop-Tarts 1 minute and Gaddafi the next. Oh, that Al-Shifa pharmaceutical plant that Uncle Noam turned you onto before he was compromised by Mossad? Bro, we're living in a Lynch film, guys. Noam was my biggest influence on not being a Zionist. Noam was compromised by Epstein, guys. Okay, so take a chuckle at that. That's a funny one, right? David Lynch, Noam, Epstein, anarchy, anarchism, Al-Shifa, Sudan, I want to go. I'm trying, guys. I don't even know these pilgrimages are going to take me everywhere if I can. But for starters, guys, we need to appreciate all these layers of a Jewish tale. Could it involve my conversion to Christianity via my dearly departed the brother in Jesus? Yes, as well as several Jesus figures downstream of the Bodhisattva connection to Christ-like energy via the Holy Spirit, guys? Of course it does. We're helper proteins here. As my ex-girlfriend would monologue at me about her thing I didn't understand via neuroscience. Yes, helper proteins are real. They are proteins that somehow help. I don't know anything else. I was probably really confused when she was explaining everything to me, but I really loved the term. Do I remember a lick about those proteins? I'd be lying if I said I did. Shout her out for explaining, though. I'm always down for a greater than 15. Okay, so anyways, here's a greater than 20. I'm predicting. We're at 350 here, and I haven't even had my little pep talk within my phytochemical lifestyle of having green tea. It's so boring and sober these days, guys. My life changed several times within the past 4 months, let alone the last year. But we have to keep the stand-up comedy going because it's a never-endingly tale involving spieling on Maine under the influence of nuggies, perhaps. We're not talking wine here, guys. We're talking DMT and CBG for those freestyle sessions. Let's get real. Sure, there was THC in the mix, and of course, probably more than anything, CBD, guys. God's particle, number 2. But within number 3, there was obviously some CBC in the mix, guys. We had to keep it focused. Eventually, those scribes had to write. So the cannabis probably got really bred well. Okay, this is the recording studio. It is not finished at all. That foam's got to go everywhere, homies. But anyways, here's my little tea. Shout it out. Goody Finds, Goodwill, Broken Handle, but a Pike Place Chem. PN Dubs, loving it. Relationship city of your dreams, Seattle or Portland. That's why the Chinese rom-coms are obsessed with Seattle, guys. Oh, me going to China for my book tour? Make it happen. Can't wait. Basically, so here's the dope part of history. I'm going to tie it all together. So the Soviet Union and the USS. Optimistic. The USSS, dope-ass founding fathers, love our country. Me, little intellectual me, living in the place the intellectuals started for shits and giggles? Yes. Dude, George Washington was like Trevor Lawrence, bro. In our time, he'd be slinging it. But back then, he had to win a war and also be president and also ward off all these idiots, okay? We had every flavor of dope-ass person. We had Benny Franklin pimping it in France, even at an old age, guys. We had Tommy Jeff. We don't know the nature of him and Sally, but we'd like to think in an optimistic fanfic, they were just platonic soulmates within the sexual dynamic of also fathering kids, but more importantly, on a Jedi level of white-black interracial friendship relationship, Jedi mode. We don't know, though, and I'm not discounting the other horrible possibilities. That being said, within my lifestyle, I'm appreciative of my country. Downstream of my TBI, guys. I got a second chance at life. And so I'm proud to be USA, but also we got big probies vis-a-vis the Cold War, guys, and tech. So basically what happened is that two countries won World War II, fundamentally. Like it was an epic, as my buddy Watts would say, shout him out, it was the most epic double or nothing on planet Earth. We all respect it. It was, if anybody knows the double or nothing idiomatic term in other Anglosphere countries, guys, think about World War II that way. Just we're rolling dice here and throwing 5 instead of 250, like let alone 10 instead of 5s, let alone 100s at the club. When I saw this VC guy do it the other day and it was electrifying. Sorry, without saying more, a lot of money thrown down. Anywho, so the diesel is, guys, we gots to focus. Because like right now I'm playing these hopeful instrumentals to get motivated. But the thing about the Twitter material is it's so ripe for better jokes. So I would encourage all the journalists who are making jokes about the news, which is fine. Take some time within your day and continually record a long-standing monologue and then tie it together. And you might get on Netflix. Because there's a hole within stand-up and comedy in general that Jedi Jon Stewart pioneered, which is that, guys, he proved himself right, bro. Okay, I used to critique The Daily Show. Oh, sure, I got in an argument with my fellow volunteer in Peru about his interview that I felt was somewhat fawning of Musharraf. But look, guys, I was a Jedi level 3 within understanding Indo-Pak at that point, okay? I apprenticed under one of the key historians of the partition. But anywho, guys, as a Jedi, I have to now explain that, man, the thing about stand-up is it is very monetizable, but also like put some flavors on the jokes and just it's how the way you say it, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like en español o inglés, like tienen que like pues a poner un poquito de mostaza en su pelota, putos. Sorry, guys. It's like in the famous Latrell Sprewell incident where, as we all sort of appreciated and or admired, he choked out his coach, his white coach. Loved it. Okay, PJ, great coach. Sorry, in hindsight, totally regrettable for everybody. But what led to the choke was actually a good coaching point. I like what DJ said, bro. Put some mustard on those passes, guys. I'm an uncle now. I'm going to be coaching these little nephews someday, hopefully. And that's downstream of a Jewish tragic comedy in real life I don't even have the time to fathom to tell you about. But that being said, so yes, guys, put some mustard on these jokes. Just like Trell, like sure, it was a practice. But if you're out there for the love of the game, throw it with some mustard, you know? It's like Tom Brady, bro. Fucking Lamar. They're out there in the practice field slinging it. We've all seen the practice highlights because we're all idiot Jewish kids who are obsessed with sports like they're 10, but somehow they're 38. Anyways, guys, so the thing about jokes, first of all, throw some mustard on it. Second of all, as I mentioned, flip it out, gang. Do some dialogues, you know? Get Boston with it. Or even Jewish grandma. Oh, I'm Miriam Adelson. Mr. Donald, you need to support Bibi because he supports Hamas. And If we kill everybody in Gaza, then we can kill everybody everywhere else. Are you stupid? What? Oh, wait, sorry, guys. No, let me do a different one. Hey, Adam, we just bought the team, and we want to get rid of this Jewish guy, Luca. He's basically he's in a psychoanalysis section for 2 hours on the court there. He's complaining to the refs himself, the refs about himself, his father. He's talking to refs, but often talking to himself and the refs via his coaches, who are also sometimes talking to his teammates and wondering what he's saying about them. So anyways, Donnie, so what we need to do is trade Luca because he's too opinionated and he might speak out against Gaza. And then will you give us a little Maina, a little Maine boy? Will ya? The next White Larry? We'll steal him from the league. Thank you. And by the way, Adam, please talk to Donald now because I want you to ruin the NBA more and ruin basketball. Yeah, guys, I've beef with the NBA, okay? I'm trying to spin off the Dubs proper right now. Anybody in sports, if you want to listen, because I love you guys, can start your own league and get away from these Nepo babies. Just strike for a year and then get some fucking VC money, gang. Start it up proper. Dude. Bro, if we gave Oprah equity in the newly reformed Dubs, as well as Barack and Michelle their own team, let alone Oprah, her own team, and in the PN Dubs, we could existingly like usher in our current ownerships, but like maybe, who knows? We could add some teams, guys, and Melinda having a team, Mackenzie having a team, even if it's not in Seattle or wherever, because we're trying to grandfather in these owners, but remove the NBA from the picture. It's one of my life missions, guys. But anywho, downstream of my stand-up journey, I've been funny my whole life, believe it or not. Ask my real life homies, not my parasocial Twitter people. But that being said, sometimes in my life I haven't been that funny, guys. It's mostly been when I've been working an office job, not having much to do, fluorescent lights or a QB. Oh, it's the worst. I'll go on socials and boards. I won't be as boards. Bullshit jobs? Yes, dude. Davy Graves, kind of onto something. Love him or hate him, but I did read part of that book, and I think he's got a point. And AI kind of proved it, or wrote it, and now here we are, writing. Do people think I wrote my book? It's been an ongoing question for me. Do they think I wrote it with AI? So many cues. So little time, so many answers, so little answers, so many questions. Cue for you. Okay, so pivoting back to the stand-up. Gang, so I am Jewish. We basically hacked the code where it's subversive within being in an outsider culture to have opinions contrary to the mainstream, but express them in funny ways. Like, throw some mustard on that or even some sriracha, guys. It doesn't have to taste like gefilte fish. Like, who knows what the kosher Q is for that Q, but IDK right now, gang. It's a stand-up culture. 1 minute we're drinking our green tea, last calf of the day, and the next minute we're contemplating the wine we never even think about. But why would I think about it except for the fact that it's ceremonial at this point? I'm trying to spice up the stand-up, and I'm quitting smoking, which is agonizing because my stand-up flows like Dave's. Sometimes in my head when I'm properly smoking. But the thing about me and smoking is it's a neck because it's just hard to explain, but it's a bad habit. Independent of the carcinogenicity within LifeStruct, RN, not a good druggie or practice. But that being said, guys, it's fine. I'm not upset. I'm not so stressed I have to stop monologuing for a second. Okay, fuck, I am. But am I? I don't know, guys. Life is eternal and such a mystery. Like, why are we here? Like, in my weird opinion, like, pretty much for, like, a few reasons. But not that many. And so when you're bored by yourself and one of those reasons isn't around, it gets even more boring. Miserable. Cold weather months, boring as fuck, anywhere you go. if it's cold. For the most part, it's just human nature, guys. It's just these retreat societies. In the cold, you just gotta take half the year off and like live your bear, which is cool. I love bears. Who doesn't? I'm a deadhead level 90 Seth. And but regarding Seven, guys, Seven Costanza here. That's a great joke. You know, just go back to the roots of Seinfeld. Oh, Seven. Nobody in English has ever named their kid that. It's a number, and it's Mickey Mantle's number, and so I'm gonna fucking name my kid that. It's like me naming my kid Seven for Michael Vick. Like I would love to, but I'd also just name him Vic. In that fanfic context, brilliant joke. I don't know why exactly. I'm just explaining it. There's other flavors involved, probably. I mean, it's an ongoing bit in an episode, but like, I just wish there were simple jokes like that because Twitter's a little too edgy, you know? It just is, guys. Like, and within my prose on Twitter, I get what's hilariously considered somewhat rude and edgy when I'm really just getting down to the level of people in offices who need to be stemmed to not be NPCs. Like journalism, practice of it, hasta la vista. Cold War mentality within the practice, for sure. Say nothing complex, definitely. Big law covering a lot of liability for major investigative work, for sure. Sulzberger's ties to Mossad, many cues. Opinion columnists, working for Israel. Patriotism, secondary. In fact, can you actually be patriotic in any way if Israel's priorities are first to you as opposed to the country in which you're a citizen and live and pay taxes? I would say no. I would say you can't really be patriotic with that mental model. And so downstream of that whole thing, guys, I felt somewhat compelled to make prickly pair points within the tweet game because we're at a moment of crisis. Cold War ended, guys. Rear view, yes. And basically to wrap this monologue back up towards an infinite jest possibility of further tangents. Cold War ended. Major bummer. I studied Sovietology. My PlayStation Network handle is Kremlinologist. I was a poli-sci history dub major with a focus on the USSR post-Soviet states within history and the Russian Empire, even just a continuous Russia with some China thrown in, FTL-OTG, of course. I was more of an international politics guy. I actually didn't do the IR major because there was an issue with my language credits. I'm fluent in Spanish now, but to be real, I could have like cobbled together my credits. It was stupid. I don't know. IR was prestigious at Tufts, guys. It was the cool kid major, and it was, dude. And I basically took all those classes because it was sort of fluid, or some of them, and it was great. When I was there, I was also UVM, guys. Vermont. I was a Vermonster for 1.5 Bernie in my life early on. Just a couple Jews communing in them Green Mountains. Long Trail, best beer? Sure. If I had Long Trail right now, I would be a beer drinker again, guys. Maybe it's nostalgia like it all is, but I would love an LT. Oh, Lawrence Taylor watching them highlights with a fucking dub. What is it called, guys? The double bag. Thank you. Dub bag. Cow udder. I would love that combo. LT and Sopranos, tickling every box during COVID. Check in a box, tickle in a box. Hanging Chads, Norman Chad. Chad Johnson, 8-5. 20 minutos más para terminar casi? Claro que sí. So gang, and I love speaking Spanish to fuck with Steven. So gang, the thingy is Stevie Mills, modern times. Because basically the whole reason we're so demented is that very simple math. So basically we live in a democracy, USSR lived in an autocracy, whatever. Label it what you want. 2 political systems, 2 countries, 2 pathways. Not always happy ones. Bashel. Trajectory could possibly just include the Russian Empire under Catherine Plus, combined with Soviet restorology and a revisionism par excellence, plus a Jedi-level American twist. juxtaposed in a weird duality and dialectic of the binary and yet the fluid quantum states between which the two political systems either did or didn't represent and mimic each other, but only at weird moments in time, in which case you wouldn't see the parallel practice within within the other political system. You could only capture it once at a time, but they were very similar in strange ways. And yeah, disregard that part on the timeline in the quantum way. Like, dude, there were probably time synchronicities and dissynchronicities within these parallel tracks and like phenomena. But overall, I would say that what happened was we won World War II and so did the USSR, fundamentally, right? On the same timetable in which we, as human species, invented nukes. So all of a sudden, there were effectively two superpowers with such disproportionate leverage that they hacked the code and became disproportionate to their like GDP and like standing. Just because they were the last people standing at this weird moment in time, they capitalized, and it was just, the world was divided up. Classic cool moment. In an extreme historical way, hasn't really happened quite like that ever, and may not again, for the better, because it corroded our political systems. If you can't get invaded ever, and you can't get like brought back to Earth because of the UN bullying you in some way, like it's just our show, we're all running it. And it was cool, but also not. But also I have a lot to say, but also I feel especially ugly right now listening and looking at myself in this disgusting skin. I need to go to the sauna later and shave, but I'm just reveling in this absurdity right now, guys. Fuck, dude, getting old sucks, guys. It just does. How can I look somewhat good right now? Okay, yeah. Bros, okay, so here's the diesel. Going back to Earth. So here's the deal. So basically, and I love here's the deal, guys. We had Joe, that's all I can remember he said in his presidency. Everything else didn't make sense. There were placeholder conjunctions, like everything was missing, bro. It was like ice cream was a stand-in for, like, it's like, okay, the Epstein files, we don't know what the code words were, but obviously they're there. For Joe, they weren't, it was just, you'd hear a code word that wasn't a code, it would just be like, it was like an old dog's name or his grandmother, or maybe like a verb, like misconjugated somehow. I don't know, Joe, but it was real. But you do always and did probably, you do probably, but did always know how to say, here's the deal. So here's the diesel. Within my Biden-esque life, pre-dementia, I just have to call out absurdity here. Because I'm a simple Yankee boy. All I wants to do is coach football, not really drink alcohol anymore, go to church, do my little pilgrimage routine, make money for my fam. Myself, secondary in the GOL. Come on, gang. But hey, it's the Dale. And I'm speaking to a lot of people who are primaries, like me, myself, and my narcissism, numero uno. Because I worked and lived with y'all. I was at the frickin', I'm not trying to hate, gang. I just talked about the Cold War, but to tie it into my personal perspective, like I was in high school once. Upon a blue moon, I worked at the Black and White for Walt Whitman High School. Guys, but the thing is, I didn't really care. And I don't want to get into it, but I can tell you one thing, and it sort of inspired a scene in my book, in those journalism and then later black and white classes. I wasn't in those classes, guys, because it was always a bullshit sesh. Because it was like you could write but talk to your friends. Occasionally, me and my friends would have these cool chats with a girl who was 1 year older. But otherwise, we were roaming the halls. Because me and a few of my homies, shout out Kyle and Connor, we didn't want to be there. Because it wasn't fun. Willie, you were there too. Okay, bros, and I can think of some others. But we had to escape the class because we were actually funny and fun to hang out with. And we didn't keep it PG, guys. We weren't within the NPC framework of boomer, mama, and dad's life. We were trying to get jiggy with it within our weird framework of roaming these halls and bothering people. Yeah, their classes probably weren't as laissez-faire as ours. So, and by the way, guys, my journalism professor, high school teacher, Miss Reynolds, I got an 89.4, didn't get the A. Because I made a South Park joke in front of her about the war in Iraq, guys. And then this identical girl, Emily S., 89.4, A. I got the B, she got the A. Bottom line, same exact numerical grade. Thanks a lot. Yeah, keeping receipts, immaculate memory. Thank you. Come again. But yeah, within that NPC hallways, and yeah, everybody knows the pranks. They were legendary. Changing grades for sure. Sorry. But the thing about high school is it was total bullshit. And so we were in journalism class fucking around so much that we couldn't hang with the people in that class because they were NPCs kind of. And the thing I'm seeing is that none of those people are journalists who I remember leaving that class with. And the women's were always dope, guys, but they can't be bothered to hang. You know, they had work to do, okay? We all know it. They were actually studying and doing stuff. Within my teed out lifestyle back then, let alone my friends, we needed to leave because we were causing a ruckus if not given like a stern professorial teacher telling us facts and we were trying to Wikipedia them, writing them down. Yes, that was real too. But what was also real is my friends had to escape the NPC lifestyle of these journalism classes because the thing about chit-chatting with your friends, you're not culling sources, you're not really brainstorming effectively. And the girls, sure, they might have a convo about whatever, Laguna Beach, the OC, Paris Hill. I don't even know, guys. It was early aughts culture. You know, the Warney Rock probably. Who knows? But that being said, guys, it wasn't always the best hang because NPC framework plus men equals Wikipedia page jokes. Like, look, it's all a jest and a joust. And if you're self-coding as an intellectual, like you're not getting it out on the field. And so you're not tossing passes to your homies or nearly decapitating me when I caught a high screen pass and my friend's older brother basically ended my life, which was fun. That stuff doesn't happen in journalism class if you don't also get it out on the field afterwards. And so the thing is, gang, or the court or wherevs you happen to need to exercise all the time. So here's the diesel. So those journal classes, not as fun. So we had to escape. And why? Because the hangs weren't that great, the jokes weren't that good, and the Wikipedia jousting was kind of lame. And so transport it all these years later, all of these wisdoms apply to Twitter because I've always known it, but haven't been a public figure. Like, the jokes suck. The funny people aren't that funny, especially if they're NPCing it to other NPCs masquerading as intellectuals. Because the thing about an intellectual, guys, and I dubbed myself one, I'm trying to start the Dubs League, the spinoff of the WNBA for the real dubs. The half of the species that gets me, some of the time. More than the man's. My female therapist feels like that's appropriate to tell people, JK, but probably. But here's the diesel, guys. You gots to stop the jousting with facts and flave up the jokes. Because it's not just about being edgy. Use some AI cartoons like I love to do. Or even just record that hour of stand-up to sell to a streamer during your NPC workday. Because a Jedi level thing I notice is that within being a journalist, you're supposed to find sources and perhaps even visit places. And I know mom and dad, big media, don't have the endless classified ads paychecks to subsidize your lifestyle in the same way it used to be done. But like, surely you can expense a trip or two, just stay in a Wikipedia Airbnb, guys. Literally ask your AI assistant to combine your wiki searches with your Airbnb prefs in certain cities you want to visit and then have at it. I could give you some recs from Memphis or Tulum. Like, it's cool, guys. But what's chill about me is that I actually can't be a journalist because the job changed. Gonzo journalism was even cutting edge, but also there used to be somewhat real ones, you know, that would get into some rucki, plural, but also find some facts and connect with people. But the problem is, if you love connecting with people, you need to escape journalism class when you're 16, let alone 17, when you quit the newspaper because you didn't take the class because you wanted to get high your second semester of senior year with your friends and escape being an NPC because mom and dad had like 2 more months of your life. Yeah, I left. Fuck that newspaper, guys. I wrote an investigative piece on beer pong and wrote the epic article series on our undefeated regular football season. I had already retired because of Make America Healthy Again syndrome, just in time, guys. Everybody was disappointed. My coach shouted me out for being disappointed. Coach Schwink, you were right, bro. Excuse me, coach. All these years later, you were right. That being said, I still got to write about this epic team. Matt and Tyler, If you guys could only see these highlights, I wish we had YouTubes. We all do. But I was there for it and it was great. But that was the extent of my journalism love, guys. In high school, I think, it was a beer pong investigative piece and it was a football fanfic. And that was it. My friends were starring in these pieces. And I think ultimately I have way too many friends, way too many interests, way too much love of the game, way too many passion projects and hobbies, way too much fun being myself and living life to retreat back and be like, oh, I can just stay in my classroom and make these dumb wiki jokes, Like, I like the fact that I transcended that, and I think anybody can. Like, because right now, I'm trying to give a wake up to humanity because ultimately, like, spice up your life. If you're an intellectual, like anybody, like, take a stance. And then if you're an NPC, aka just not an intellectual, let's call it what it is. Just if you aren't an intellectual, you don't have opinions. So, like, the biggest moral issue in our time is Gaza. And if you don't have an opinion and wouldn't tell however many followers you have what to do, just speed, homies. Dang. Life got tough for you, huh? NPC. But for me, I escaped that mindset. I had to make jokes, and like bother my friends. In high school. I mean, we all we all know these stories, guys. I was at a wedding last summer with some OGs, and let's just say we caused mayhem. We all know it. It was a different era. When the moratorium on driving stories is done and gone with in the full self-driving Uber era, now that we're upon it, like, let's get the nation of men to just tell these stories. Let's get them all going and a moratorium and blanket amnesty, and we'll tell you what it was like to be 16 and drive when we started doing drugs and drinking. Anyways, so I really appreciate it. But, and as in appreciate not being that age anymore in that time. But that being said, I'm continuing to transcend NPC status all these years later, even though I was for many years, gang. Okay, but the thing about it is that ultimately, I do think that the end of the Cold War finally happened. Like, basically, this crazy nuclear binary. Both of these countries got captured by intelligence. And that's where I want to end the stand-up, because I am getting kind of hungry, and like, this is all besides the point. I might try to bum a cig off a neighbor and be really annoying. But the thing about this, quitting smoking sucks ass. Several peeps say it's harder, including a dear friend, say it's harder to quit cigs than to quit heroin or opiates. Believe it or not, and I dabble in that world, perhaps, like, it is. It's the demon drug. It's so tied in with the death drive and doing wrong, and it's why David Lynch somehow found that God of Light metaphor for the demons via the people smoking the whole, like, bro, I have so many Lynch opinions. I'm not gonna get it started, gang. That's for like some podcast or something, because I shan't have time to write a book. I'm just trying to write number 2 and then pivot to number 3 and then log off, because I'm no longer a writer at that point. I'm just living life and doing a startup. But in the meantime, I'm so tired, guys, and need a smoke. Because with the ciggy, that's the thing about cigs, is you ride out not eating, and it's unhealthy. I mean, intermittent fasting works for me with a juice or smoothie, 1 p.m., maybe earlier, plus banana first thing, and then a proper meat meal or fish, but like for dinner, but like plus a postprandial little treat with my my sleepy time regimen, and some sugar to spike and then crash the blood sugar, and you get real tired and go to bed. But the thing is, smoking kind of saps that desire to eat too much, and so like it really is negative, and it's a death drive thing, and I'm trying so hard not to smoke. But when I get all worked up about NPC status, guys, I see on Twitter all the time now I'm back promoting my dumbass book that I need people to read to make me money and donate to my GoFundMe, because I got money stolen somehow because I wrote a book. Anywho, so the thing is, homies, the world is changing before our eyes. The USSR and the US got captured by their intelligence services. I can't really elaborate because that's a separate video spiel. But the thing is, I'm gonna leave it on a teaser because ultimately what I'm trying to convey is that like our world is changing before our eyes. Like we and the USSR both got captured by intelligence and then we had them install puppet leaders. It happened sooner in the USSR, but it keeps happening. We all know what's going on there. And guess what happened here? If JFK might have been assassinated, let alone his brother and Martin Luther King, by intelligence services, and nobody definitively has an answer, what do you think that does to our body politic and downstream of deindustrializing just like the USSR? Because we needed to, because our cost of labor was way too high. Among other things, we, instead of like pivoting, we just let a bunch of people literally die off. And it's almost equivalent to what's happening in Mexico right now, the conspiracy element that maybe isn't, because I'm just getting full into truther mode, like about clearing the north. Like I'm literally just started reading that book, guys. Like and I apologize, I'm too spaced and stoned-ish to fathom remembering Osvaldo Zavala, what the title is, but like now we know the CIA. We know also the CIA, by the way, war on drugs is a massive scam. Crypto, massive. It's any way you can funnel money to people outside of normal channels, like gives you an opening, especially if it's all traceable. War on drugs, less so. Crypto, highly. Thing about double Ds, confusing for all, except for it achieves a lot of end goals. Whoever's planning it, we don't know anymore. If it was planned to begin with, who cares? And if it is being planned, or if it's just archaic and there still and the boomers haven't gotten rid of it, I don't have the time to ponder all these questions and different forks in the road. But within the choose your own adventure of the war on drugs connecting to the USSR and the USA, like political systems need to modernize ASAP. And so anybody adhering to old frameworks, like when we just had the entire rug pulled out from under us, via Epstein, like get with it, gang. And I think to wrap us up on a positive note, I said I would mention Uncle Luke and the Book of Luke and my Christianity a little bit and my writer lifestyle. So basically, like the coolest anecdote of all of this is that I think it's notorious that Epstein was probably racist, but additionally, like the African American community by and large, like is not implicated in these files at all, obviously. And I think to some degree, Epstein and Mossad, because they, as I know firsthand via an old roommate, have like epic Jedi level Freudian psychoanalysts, like do these Mossad intake interviews, especially for people with dual citizenship. And like, yeah, these people who work within Mossad are Jedi level smart psychoanalysts. And so they'll pick up on weaknesses, but also like precautions. And so my hunch is that within the US, coming out of the civil rights movement, like the black culture is too prophetic and Christian. And so this would have been uncovered if they were targets. And so they basically got totally bypassed. I actually, in a weird way, don't think it was because all this stuff was orchestrated and planned with like psychoanalyst handlers. Perhaps via intermediaries, but obviously directly via some kind of communication, I would assume. And they're giving intel, like force feeding him intel on people. He seemed kind of dumb, but if behind you have a million Jedi level psychos analysts, like feeding you intel about people that they can ascertain, because a lot of Freudian psychology is like relatively straightforward in its sort of like general framework applied to people, even if the field itself is like endless. But if you just take people's signals, you can quickly typecast them and then explain what further motivations and actions might be. So he was getting a lot of good intel. And so anywho, via that intelligence guy, so Jeffy, and via Mossad, like, yeah, dude, they're profiling peeps. Like they're trying to figure out your like inner motivations and drives and then like capture them. And like, I think like it worked, but also like they got away with it for so long because they did it to American women to begin with and then pivoted after his conviction. Thanks, Acosta. But also thanks for turning us on. He was intelligence. I guess you were right. So the thing is, so like Jeffrey pivoted from American Girls to prey on and towards the Eastern Sphere and probably further connected with FSB. But the thing about Jeff is that he probably was fed intel that it just was absolutely counterproductive to target the black community because of various cultural reasons. And so basically it was a massive dubs for the community because it validated the prophetic culture within African American life. And so I would encourage everybody to find an inner voice like MLK or Malcolm X or whoever, like knowing that the CIA is literally trying to kill you. And just fuck it, bro. If the FBI murks me, I do not care. I will post my address because if anybody kills me, let it be the Israelis. Like within the US, it's pathetic. Like, fuck it, guys. Like, these idiots just captured our country. Like the war in Iraq, don't get me started. Like Mossad, the CIA, like James Jesus Angleton, who I respect and read the Ghost biography of, and it's really good. But I also have issues with. I don't know, guys. It's an intelligence world. And I'm getting a little bit annoyed here thinking about the CIA, but excuse me, I have a massive itch. And it was a pick as well. It was disgusting. I'm like alienating everybody left and right. So the thing is, guys, like, we all want to smoke cigs in this life, you know, but sometimes you don't want to bother your neighbors. You want to ponder things. We all want to make peacocking jokes on Twitter, guys. We all know it. It's a big dick contest, except for y'all probably don't have them and are also really big wiki fans, as am I. But I keep my wiki sessions to myself because for the love of the game of intellectual growth and development, like, who cares if you know a fact or 12? Spin them into a tale like your partner probably does. Like, let's get some flaves on these facts. You know, do some cute stand-up. Like, if it's really NPC-ish, go even more extreme. Get cute with it. Do some Christian stand-up, guys. I don't know. Go 9 levels below Nate Bargatze in terms of mass appeal. Like, keep it pure. Because a lot of it is wiki pages, nostalgia stuff. You know, we're all coming on there for, like, little microdoses of nostalgia. We all do it, so keep it really cute with that, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, fuck, dude, what is art? What is life? Why is Twitter art? Why is it writing? Why are you doing stand-up when you're a journalist, covering the news, quote unquote, for mom and dad largely? Guys, I turned Mama Bear, who's a psychopath, onto Ezra, trying to calm her down. And it did work, actually. Shout you out, Ezra. But, like, they're mom whisperers for people who don't have time to be on Twitter. Respect to the olds, because they have other hobbies, you know? And they're tech illiterate. Like, Nancy Pelosi can't open her iPhone. She doesn't know how to open the McDonald's app, let alone use it in drive-through mode, okay? Like, here's the deal. Like, our last prez had full-blown dementia. And I grew up thinking the Soviet system was so hilarious when they had the gerontocracy, but then we did. Because look at Trump, dude. He's the biggest sex criminal we've ever dreamed of, and he's right here being our president. We have Kash Patel and Stephen Miller in office. This is the most end-of-the-era fanfic I've ever seen. So in the last bit of advice, downstream, my argument is nuclear parity between us, China, and frickin' USSR, aka Russia. Just try it up and maybe bring... We can't even fathom Kashmir, guys. That's a big problem y'all should be making jokes about. Okay, but India, I'd love to have them in the mix someday, but I'm worried about Pakistan too, and I don't want to offend them. Okay? Guys, keep it Jedi level with the pan-Sub-Saharan Africa getting their own nukes. We all need them to have them. So anyways, so parity with nukes would be dope. Okay? But then we also have to chat big about, like, stopping the genocide, redirecting your jokes towards that. Especially if you're a Jewish intellectual like me, I feel so blessed to have spoken out because on my ledger now within God and Jesus, I have this in my fucking toolkit. Like, I said something when I was trying to be a public figure and maybe became one. Ja bless, Ja speed, and Ja thank you, bro. It's been so fun to have a voice finally. I don't have to worry about offending nobody except for myself and Jesus and my dearly departed homies up there and all my spiritual mentors within this framework of planet Earth. Like, for sure, there's some peeps on my ledger. But here's the diesel, guys. Like, find a voice. escape journalism class. It's not too late. I could have slipped you some acid maybe back then. Who knows? I was less evolved on my journey. I hadn't gotten there yet. But like I could have sourced some. Like imagine if you guys had microdosed and just like ran outside and gotten some fresh air like we used to. Would have done you a lot of good. But anywho, it's never too late, guys. I live in the West Coast. I have etheric work days every day. But even in New York, whether it be Astoria or Greenpoint or Prospect Lefferts Gardens, which I so lovingly write about, or Midtown or Upper East or West, or, Murray Hill, like anywhere, guys, like just walk outside, take a walk, talk to somebody, smoke a ciggy with some old homie. Yeah, light it up. Fuck it. If you've never smoked before in your life, never too late to think about one, because what opens up a convo more? And you can record him on your iPhone and call him or her a source. Fuck it. Get that ciggy sparked and tell him to tell you about Gaza. Give you some inspo. Man, what do you say? Yes or no? Ain't NPC, dawg. Ain't no NPC, no Muhammad. We about to end this Cold War on the dot. To reorient ourselves, like some of us are trying to do pilgrimages to China first and foremost and have a proper book tour there and play ping pong and teach football and play basketball and learn Mandarin, beginning level, of course, and rope a significant other or several friends into part or all of the tour. Okay? This isn't DF Dubs here. I'm living fanfic for real, and I have outside interests. Like, I'm talking Jedi level sports combined with Chintology, aka Seneca podcast Gracias. Yes, within the trinity of my China interest, it encompasses politics, culture, and religion. And I can't wait to go. But within China now as our co-equal, at least within the USSR and Russia and the US, USA, whatever we call ourselves, because nobody here is patriotic anymore. Sorry to break it to you. My bad. Didn't mean to be the Mayflower descendant on Maine too much. Apparently Jamestown too. Look it up. But within Ancestry, I ain't got the time of day nor the dime to buy a sub right now, guys. So if I could tie it together, I'm really not an NPC and have no money because I spoke out against my psycho mom, who also, by the way, has been spoken out several millennia from me within these Jewish lifetimes about Gaza / Israel / Palestine / Zionism / what the hell is going on syndrome. Didn't break through at all. But on the way out of her life, I alienated her enough to be broke. And it involves my TBI and my bipolar disorder. Guys, so if you could go to my GoFundMe at the pinned tweet, that would be great. But guys, to wrap it up here, because we got fucking, here, I'm going to go in John Adams mode here. Because the NBA is a fucking racket, dude. We got this fucking Maina. We got fucking Cooper Flag and AJ DeBanza from Brockton. And instead of those fucking wicked pisser guys hitting the basketball court for the Celtics, we got to deal with the NBA's bullshit involving the draft, free agency, Nepo babies, bullshit, my LeBron syndrome, me, basketball, bullshit. Guys, we got to escape these NPCs, homie. Let's spin off the leagues. Sorry, I love the NFL. Never spin it off. I'm talking NBA and dubs here. Guys, all the other leagues are fine. Let's get rid of Adam and start fresh. But the thing is, that's for a future stand-up, guys. I have to keep my Jews within certain target distances right now. And because I'm Jewish, I get to go off on Maine. It's one of the beauties of being half. I get to call everybody out. Within the half framework, it's dope. So the thing about me is I'm going down with my punches. I'm going to punch up because y'all have more money than me, and yet I have more pride. Because within the prophetic tradition that I grew up with, much like Uncle Luke's within the 2 Live Crew framework, because old Uncle Luke got fucking spooked. And by the way, to wrap it all up with my intellectual tradition and the way I write and why I live and why I write and why it's all dope is that in high school, my Jedi favorite teacher was my AP politics, US politics, and world politics professor, really. And she was from Florida. And as an homage, when she assigned us to rewrite some song based on current events with politics, US politics, me and my homie Kyle rewrote a 2 Live Crew song. And it was all about the Alberto Fernandez, like the judges, like Karl Rove was holding up some judicial appointments. It's all quaint in hindsight, guys. I love the Dubs administration now compared to what we're dealing with. They were manipulated by Zionism too. But that's the thing about Holocaust arrangement system, guys. Syndrome, excuse me. I don't have time to explain why the Holocaust was never solved because nobody gave us a just settlement. Don't start me on HDS, which is the root cause of Israel and Gaza. Guys, everybody abdicated their roles because we were just traumatized on Maine trying to go places. It's sort of analogous to my Cherokee ancestors. You know, you just go places and sit and think about where you were when they made you leave and people died. It's sad. Sometimes you go in the woods and commune with the spirits. But that being said, and that unfortunately did happen to my relative. That being said, guys, Holocaust arrangement system syndrome, and it is a system of manipulating people. Not enough, guys. We didn't do it. We rescued them from the Holocaust. So did Russia. Why are we burdened with this? It involves nuclear weapons? Yes, we all know it, guys. We're easy targets. It's not like Israel was going after India and China. Can you imagine those Epsteins? No, because they didn't need to be had. Israel FSB? Tell me more. Israel CIA? Tell me less. Me, Israel, haven't been. Pride, check mark. Jedi level intuition that something was up. Call me crazy, but the good half sniffed it out. But here's the diesel, guys. Uncle Luke so eloquently noticed that Trump was a fucking perv because he couldn't have fun and was a total psycho rapist NPC within his hangs. With other insane journalism types who were always within their parents' framework, fucked around and got wealthy, lived within this bullshit criterion of deindustrialization, fucked everybody over because they didn't like people that much. We all know why. Just out the door of our lives, pissing everybody off because they're going to die off soon and hopefully their kids are cool. But the thing is, guys, like they all live within the frameworks of life, you know? Basically, like we all know you can basically do certain things because mom and dad did, like misogyny, like rape, like horrible things, like abuse, like bullshit because it's a fucking cover-up culture. Just like over at the CIA, like it's all connected. And so within your extemporaneously dope life to use your free will and escape the frameworks of society sometimes when it's all crumbling, I would encourage everybody to follow Uncle Luke's advice. Have good fucking hangs, guys, because I always tried to. Because when I heard Uncle Luke's music, it always resonated so much that to me and my friend Kyle, who it also resonated with, we had to sing about the judges to Uncle Luke. Okay? It was fucking awesome. And we did a good job. And I appreciate the good grade on that because we really tried. And like, sometimes you got to find inspiration in prophetic culture, guys. Because if life was that fun in South Florida, living in a restrained adult way that we now know in hindsight was cool, for the most part, except for drug problems, fuck yeah, guys. These idiot boomers who claim to be moral superiors to people doing drugs in the 80s that may have been cocaine, these guys are raping girls. It's all a fake game. The CIA wants this war on drugs narrative. They want everything. They want you to never question drinking culture. Perfect. All these aggroed out people happen to die off because of alcohol. Good for us. In my devious Machiavellian framework for how the CIA funds all this bullshit somehow, who knows? But God gave you a voice. So like, man, think about Luke. Just this guy, humble servant of God, servant of Jesus, didn't meet him, just writing down these stories he heard firsthand. Storytelling. Even if you're meek like Luke and are a little bit embarrassed to be out there with non-NPCs, perhaps some of them like a little bit aggressive and edgy, fuck guys, just strap it up like Luke. You can still be meek. Any good old Christian in this town is gonna love you for that. Just smoke a ciggy or not, just rip a pen or not, rip a sin or not, like suck on a straw, I don't know, like drink your beer, but like, fuck it, gang. Like, you know what I would say? Earnestly, just try it. Just try once to like live this weird ass night of experience with other people or day. Like, do something totally impromptu and unexpected. Meet some random people taking a walk in some park. Like, I know you can't necessarily go somewhere totally weird off the grid in 3 hours and be in Bend and like commune there with this lady, but nevertheless, like, you've got your own life. And just do something for 4 hours. Put the kids with your partner. Like, if you don't have kids, all the better. You got to leave somewhere and find some cultural diversity and have a cig or a beer with somebody and go to town, guys. Have these chats, work on your material, get some feedback, and then listen. Because aren't you journalists after all? Find some source material, because human stories are dope. And I don't read as much as I should because I love hanging with people too much. So hang out. And ultimately, guys, I have LeBron syndrome, so he's taught me a lot. And his call out of Kevin Love was good. And I'm in Portland now, and I appreciate it. Because here's my deal. Okay, LeBron was right. You can't fit out like in life. You have to fit in to the human structure. But also, once in a blue moon like Kevin, you do have to fit out. Because he did find his dream girl downstream of fitting out, and she helped him fit in, and he won a title. In the most legendary comeback of the NBA, perhaps. So guys, once in a blue moon, just fit out. But then, like LeBron says, ultimately, like, yes, dude, you need to fit in, okay? We're all part of a team. Like, don't pretend like you can't space the floor. You know, post up in the dunker spot or just really just in that corner not doing shit. Like, sure, you're a rebounder and a back to the basket guy, but the NBA changed on you, okay? Kevin, in a different era, my homie, we're seeing a different highlight reel. Love ya. But guys, in this one, you gotta fit in. Okay? I get it. I tried so hard to fit out, and look where I'm at. I haven't met my dream girl. So LeBron is right. But Kevin's right, because ultimately you do have to fit out once in a blue moon on your journey through being a Jedi or trying to discover the Force and apply it to your life and get there. You know, like, once in a blue moon, guys, just try to fit out a little bit. But, okay, LeBron is right. Guys, I would never go against Big Bro. LeBron, look at my shrine. Dude. So many. All my LeBrons got jacked in my storage unit theft, though, and I've only started to replace them. Actually, I haven't. Anyways, traumatic. Right after I finished book one. Tough to come home to from Buenos Aires, for sure. Especially with my diplomas, rare books, a lot of other stuff got jacked. Not all the books, though. In fact, that was basically all they left. That being said, a lot of them gone. A lot of faves. Sentimental, heartbreaking books stolen? Yes. But that being said, guys, Uncle Luke, or maybe the Book of Luke, because I think as an outsider to Christianity, it's a dope-ass place to start. And that would be my other rec. Because as an intellectual, have you read the Book of Luke again since you were like 25 maybe, or never? It's a great place to start because it's ultimately the most Jedi level parable within this weird framework of all these repeating stories. And yet we haven't had one quite like Jesus. Because ultimately, read it and see for yourself. The advice seems almost unimpeachable. And within this current frame of mind, I would say, like, you're not beholden to false idols or false prophets before God, ever. Because if you want to fit out once in a blue moon within the constraints of society, and you're not hurting anybody, but are trying to discover things about the world, I think that's cool. And I don't think Jesus speaks out against that. In fact, I think his whole life is about connecting with people in the physical. And I think that's the beauty of fitting out sometimes, is you meet all kinds of people. Because ultimately, Kevin Love, when I first saw him on Arrivals.com, look, guys, we all know the sports, okay? I'm a sports guy. I am. Bill, me, several friends, everybody, some level, who knows? Yes, I'm a sports guy. And so, yeah, I discovered Kevin via Rivals, but then he looked like a Latino gangbanger, and he was supposedly playing in California maybe for his travel team, but was in Oregon. I was like, wait, they get this like white guy or this like half cholo guy to like from SoCal to like fly up? He was like wearing beaters and chains, and then he was like a pudgy fat rebounding guy who could shoot threes. Dude, he's electric. He coded as an extremely SoCal, either white or like Latino working class guy, like gangbanger type almost. But he was actually this Pacific Northwest hobbit, sort of. Like, they're Jedis here, guys. They're extremely into the forest of nature. So Kevin fit out within convincing me at first and a lot of other people that he was this hard-nosed, basically SoCal terrorizer. He was the epitome for me contemporaneously, being similar age, was like, oh, he would like steal your girl for sure. She's going with Kevin and she's going to regret it. And I don't give a fuck because I'm not standing up to this guy. See ya. Happened in my real life for sure. Probably a couple times. Let's be real here. But that being said, guys, like, he fit out in that framework. And then sure, on the court, there were some problems fitting out still from his Minnesota era, integrating into LeBron's world, where LeBron is sort of the sun. But the beauty of the sun is to give us all light, guys, because LeBron passes, even though he doesn't have to. It's just a beautiful spiritual thing. But the thing about LeBron is he's right, ultimately. Like, we do need to fit in long term. But what could help us fit in more like Kevin than fitting out once in a blue moon? You know, LeBron's innovated his whole life. Even he fit out once with the decision. I mean, sure, I was rooting for him after that, and I'm a LeBron fan. I don't root for anybody else or any other team in the NBA, and I have his entire career because I love LeBron. But sure, you do you. But anyways, guys, the thing is, like, as that Goodwill thing says with the octopus and the top hat, be yourself. But also, like, yes, fit out, but also, like, dude, look at these Blazers bobbleheads. Yo, Goodwill in the West Coast. It's not just, it's all over the country, guys. I just gotta, everybody shout out their goodies. But man, I mean, honestly, LA Goodwills are so dope. But so are the Portland ones. The two of my favorites. I've heard this Japanese guru collector who supplied a lot of their thrift stores before COVID apparently would come to the Goodwill bins in Portland, Milwaukee, and then also, Milwaukee, Portland suburb, not that Milwaukee, but Portland's suburb called Milwaukee, and also Houston would get, I think, come to Portland especially because all the gear is dope, but then specifically, like, you know, you get a lot of Nike stuff from all their employees, and then Houston for some, I forget what brand, but like apparently before COVID, this Japanese guy would come like once a month as on a tourist visa and like send back pallets of clothes and just supplied, and sneaks, and just supplied like a big chunk of their thrift stores. But I guess he stopped coming. I'm like confused. But these resellers at the bins were telling me. Anyways, guys, with my LeBron life, look at this old slam, man. Like, bro, we got Zebo and Chuck on the cover, Monte Ellis, Durant, Lenny Cook. I mean, it doesn't get more dope than that. And think about it, that was pre the decision. Yeah, he fit out within white American framework, patriarchal bullshit, offending everybody that African Americans have free will too and could decide to not want to live in a cold weather place where they grew up and instead move to fucking Miami. Psycho, bullshit patriarchy, racist attitudes. We all know them now. But that being said, maybe fit out a little bit, like he didn't have to do it at the YMCA or whatever. I don't care. Like, sure, it could have been scheduled better. He wasn't yet on a Jedi Loves with Mav running the show. But that being said, who cares, dude? LeBron is LeBron. Kevin Love is Kevin Love. They're successful in life, have great partners, have great kids. They learned how to fit in. But they took risks, aka they're not NPCs, because once in a while society noticed that they fit out. Whether it was me on Rivals with Kevin or LeBron with Kevin, or Kevin needing Kate probably to help him, LeBron and Savannah, also LeBron, but like, yes, these guys that help, but also within themselves, over time, they learned fit out in good ways, you know? And I think to tie it all together, maybe they could be investors in the spun off WNBA, guys. They deserve teams, maybe, or they could be co-owners, or LeBron should be an owner, and Savannah, more importantly, would be the owner, but then Kevin and Kate could be minority owners, along with me. But guys, please, God, please remember that one liberating factor in fitting out these days, occasionally, according to the ways you can ultimately find God and fit in, is that, man, oh man, if those idiot boomers gave us the gerontocracy, gave us Trump, gave us Epstein, gave us nightmares, if whatever they did for their lifestyles or their definition of journalism or facts or predictions or sports is like, you don't have to take that at face value, bro. Innovate a little bit. We all know the rug got pulled. Like I said, it's like the Wizard of Oz got revealed. It's some idea of what it means to be Jewish, I guess, ultimately. And then also really it means like 2,000 years of Europeans telling us where to go, but never telling us, and then kicking us out and not telling us where. I don't even know anymore, guys. It's like sort of a canopy culture. You just canopy hop, try to find a tree for protection. But it's been super real, guys. So yeah, man. It was a journey for sure. But Book of Luke, Uncle Luke, 2 Live Crew, JB, it's been real. Try to fit in by occasionally fitting out. Because just like Luke and Uncle Luke, if you have really fucking fun times, you're going to discover the Holy Spirit within others and learn a lot about yourself and gain points. And it will not only improve your stand-up jokes on Twitter, but it may encourage you to do less of them by being less addicted and using your limited time on Twitter to make the world better and not prove points via intellectually peacocking on other people via very mediocre jokes. Love ya. Gotta go.